Hi everyone, my name is Kevin van der Eyck, co-founder of FiveX, and today in the call we will speak with Will. Will is a co-founder of the company Rev Automation for recovering for your Amazon fulfillment services. He will introduce himself. We'll dive a little bit deeper in what he does with his company and how he can help you guys with getting your money back from Amazon.
Awesome. Kevin, hey, great to be here. Will here from RevUp. I'm the CEO and co-founder of our company. Just a little bit of background about what we've been up to. So around 3 years ago, we started a Shopify app called Shiptection. It had a lot of traction early on. For those who probably don't know, it's shipping insurance at checkout, which is a pretty common product for Shopify merchants in the United States. So we grew that product pretty nicely over the last few years. And then towards the end of last year, we actually acquired the software and team and Amazon Reimbursements software and tool, if you will. So right now we're both supporting Shopify and Amazon merchants. Really on the Amazon side, we're really focused on Amazon Reimbursements, which I'll tell you a little bit more about. Kevin and I'll dig into kind of how it works in the whole program. For context, we're working with a few hundred Amazon sellers throughout the world who are selling FBA on Amazon, and a couple of the largest aggregators as well. Some brands that are selling up to 9 figures on Amazon every year, USD. Excited to dig in and tell you how you can take advantage of this type of program, whether it's with us, trying to do it yourself, another provider. Like, this is something everyone should be taking advantage of, kind of regardless of how you do it.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for the introduction. What exactly do you do with the service? Since there are a lot of different terms, I might be not familiar with everyone, with every of them. Walk us through, please.
Sure, 100%. So I would say what we're focused on is called Amazon Reimbursements. It's kind of an industry term, but I would think about really there's three separate ways that you can sell on Amazon. Number one is you can just use a listing, but all of the things are fulfilled by you. So let's say Kevin and I are selling t-shirts online. We don't want to actually send our product to Amazon. They're not buying it, but someone will go on Amazon and they will purchase it on Amazon. But really, Kevin and I in our basement are shipping out those t-shirts. So that's going to be called FBM, or fulfilled by merchant. You can have FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon. So this is pretty much anything with a prime. I would think of it this way, is say Kevin and I are selling stuff on Amazon, and what we're going to do is ship them 1,000 t-shirts to Amazon, and they're going to put it in their warehouse. Whenever someone buys one of Kevin and I's t-shirts, they're going to go into the warehouse, pick and pack it, and ship it to whoever bought our t-shirts. That is what we call FBA, fulfilled by Amazon. And that's really the focus of what we're going to be talking about today. Think about kind of what I just said is Kevin and I are selling t-shirts online. We ship 100 units to Amazon. Amazon's obviously a huge company. They're doing billions and billions of revenue. They have millions of FBA sellers, just like Kevin and I, who are selling whatever products, toothpaste, socks, dishware, whatever it may be. So Amazon is receiving all these inbound shipments. They're dealing with all this merchandise. And I think just kind of millions of sellers, billions of sales, they're bound to make mistakes. Large number is, typically 1 to 3% items are going to be mishandled. There's roughly 17 or 18 different case types that can happen, but the most common, the three big ones, are inbound shipment, damaged, and lost. So I think inbound shipment would be this. Kevin and I ship 100 t-shirts to Amazon, and we said we shipped 100, and Amazon is going to receive it and said we only received 97. So we actually ship it to Amazon, and some of those items are missing. The second would be just damage. So we ship our t-shirts into Amazon, and what ends up happening is something happens. Maybe t-shirts isn't the best example, but maybe we're selling breakables. Someone in the warehouse drops it, and Amazon is going to say, we damaged these 3 items. And then the third is going to be what we would just call lost. So what'll happen there is really in 2 different ways. These warehouses are big. They're not too chaotic. They're very well organized considering the scale, but someone's going to misplace our items, and the inventory Amazon says we have is going to be different than kind of what we have on file. Also, what can happen is not only losing it in the warehouse, but let's say we ship product to Amazon. We ship in bulk to one location. In order to fulfill, prime obligations where people want their 2-day delivery, same-day delivery, whatever it may be, what is going to happen is Amazon is going to take that merchandise and maybe divert it to different warehouses throughout the United States. So when it's going from one warehouse to the other, Amazon could lose those. Maybe something gets lost in transit, maybe it just gets misplaced, but really also going from warehouse to warehouse, there's also opportunity there. So really those are the three big cases: inbound shipment, damage, and then lost. There are others, but again, they're way less common than those common examples.
Yeah, and for the first one, thanks for the explanation. For the first one, like if there are different amounts, so for example, I'm sending 80 units, Amazon tells, okay, we just got 79. How do you like argue that? Is there a way to confirm you can tell them I sent 80, but how do you confirm that?
So we're going to send like documentation that could be in your internal system, but like, hey, here's the packing slip with 100, items we sent in. So we're submitting like internal documentation saying, hey, here's the packing slip, the bill of lading, things like that could be typically in your Amazon account. And if it's not in your Amazon account, we might reach out and say, hey, we don't have this information. Like, can we obtain it from the brand individually?
For the broken and for the lost products, like how do you all keep track of that? Because what you say, there's a lot of different orders, a lot of different sales, a lot of different products. Of course, things can get lost, but how do you keep track of all that?
So really, like, the biggest thing what we're doing is a part of the service is our software connects to Amazon. So we're pulling reports, every night from Amazon. Like, we have, I think, 18 different reports. I'm blanking on the specific number, but we're pulling reports every day and we're sort of running that up. We're truing that information up. And then based on, we're doing some math in the background to determine, okay, based on all these reports we have and based on the data we're saying, we're going to say, okay, these are different case types where these are lost opportunities. So essentially, the biggest thing is we're pulling data from Amazon and kind of truing that up with what we have on our side to identify case opportunities.
Would you say this is a problem for all sellers who are using FBA in this case? Or are there specific parties who have more problems than others since different types of products?
Very good question. I would say it's going to affect anyone who's selling on FBA. If you're FBM, fulfilled by merchant, it's not applicable, but FBA, you're shipping your product to Amazon, it's certainly applicable for all of those folks. I would say the higher SKU count. So if you have 1,000 different SKUs, you're likely going to have more claims or case opportunities than, say, if you have 3 different SKUs. And then I would just say the more revenue you do, the more opportunity there's going to be for you. So if you are selling $50 million a year and you have 10,000 SKUs on Amazon, probably the case types are going to be a lot bigger than if you sell 50,000 a year on Amazon and have 3 SKU types. But I would say SKU types tends to cause more, case types.
More places where it can go wrong, right?
Yeah, no question.
You said in the beginning of the thing, like 1 to 3% of the revenue. Like, can you talk a little bit more about like the equation to get to a number where we can think, okay, this is probably missing on our side?
Yeah, so I would say, let's say you're doing $1 million USD a year. I would say there's typically going to be 1 to 3% of that amount, so $10,000 to $30,000 should be recoverable, where Amazon is essentially mishandling your merchandise. So that could be lost, inbound shipment, or damaged as well. So I would say that's a good benchmark. 1 to 3% is roughly what we'll see. Like, it could be higher, it could be lower, but I would say, the bulk of customers who are selling FBA will be in that 1 to 3% range.
And how does it work with revenue is one thing, but that's the selling price. Is there a specific quote where Amazon takes in consideration, okay, well, this should be my cost price instead of my selling price for like the recovery part? Or
so that's actually a great part about it, is you're reimbursed based on the sale price. Okay. So it's not actually Amazon. I think one of the things that we've learned is they can't see your cost of goods sold. Obviously, like, if you're a big enough product and they want to sell it, they would try to back into the numbers. But if you're just an Amazon seller, that you don't have to show them what your cost of goods are. So if, let's say, you're selling an item that's $20, if they lost it, damaged it, or is, whatever, mishandled, the reimbursement amount would be for that $20, not, if the cost of goods was $5, it's actually what the list price is.
Well, then it will definitely add up. And
no question.
For me, like, for example, I'm selling for the last 5 years on Amazon throughout Europe, maybe United States. I've never done these type of revenue reimbursements. What can I expect, and how far can I go back in time to get?
So I think it depends on the different case types. Some of them we can go back longer, but we can go back up to 18 months. Some of the cases expire a little shorter, more like 90 days. So I would say if you're someone who hasn't had a program in place, like what I would expect to see is initially like a huge spike as far as reimbursements, because we're going back as far as we can, identifying all the case types. So you should see a big initial bump. And then what I would kind of expect is it to kind of more stabilize over time, where maybe you're seeing, you know, I'm making up the number, $1,000 in reimbursements a month, where in the first month you might see 5, 10 times that amount. But I would say it's typically pretty steady, but initial with a big initial bump. The kind of exception would be is if there's a big inbound shipment where we ship a whole bunch of products and it's mishandled, there could be a big bump there. But I would say is if you haven't done it, like there's probably lots of opportunity just sitting there. You know, we'll work with a new big customer who hasn't done this, and there could be, you know, $50,000, $200,000 just sitting in their account to fight to try to get the reimbursed for. So there could be a lot of opportunity, but it's, you know, very much dependent on your size. If you're selling $5 million a year on Amazon and you've never done this, there could be a huge upfront lift that we would find.
How does it exactly work? So I've never done this. What would be the steps to get on board on your service, and how exactly do you guys help me? Can you walk me through the process?
Yeah, 100%. So what we would do is if someone said, hey, let's go, I want to give this a try, what we could do is we will send over onboarding instructions. Essentially what we do is connect to your Seller Central via, you know, kind of a partner program Amazon has in place. And then what we do is we do an initial pull where we pull, you know, a huge history from Amazon. And then the next morning, we're going to see all these case types that all populate, and we'll see kind of what opportunity there are. So even if you didn't decide to the service, we could do an audit saying, hey, 100 case types or whatever it may be. Based on the data we receive, we'll see all these case types. We'll hit our team's queue, and we'll start fighting them on your behalf for Amazon. Some of the cases, you know, if it's a $7 broken item, it's a little different than it's a $7,000 potential case. But based on the case, we'll file the documents with Amazon, you know, click all the buttons. It's really important to note that Amazon terms of service don't allow for like bots or automation to actually click the buttons to submit the cases. So all of our people, you know, it has to be an actual human clicking the button, even if some of the cases are fairly repetitive and simple. So what we'll do is we'll submit cases, we'll submit all the documentation. Most of the documentation we need is really in Seller Central, so we can pull it directly from your system. There's a certain number of cases where it might not actually be populated in there. And if that were the case, what we would do is reach out to our point of contact and say, hey, I need whatever it may be from you. And we'd get that documentation and then submit it to Amazon. I would say the other thing is once we submit it, a lot of it can just be following up with Amazon to ensure, hey, do we have all the information we need? What is missing? And then once the case is approved, it'll actually hit your Seller Central account, like the revenue would be there. And then at the end of the month, we would essentially bill the customer however they want to pay for a percentage based on what we recover. So that's pretty simple. I would say it's 10 minutes to get up and running. So very simple. You'll see how much opportunity there is. And I would say more or less the program should just run in the background, very simple. Like it shouldn't be a lot of work day to day. You know, occasionally we might have to reach out for documentation, but for all intents and purposes, it's kind of on in the background. And if we don't see anything, you don't get paid, you know, we're scanning everything. And if we say, hey, here's a big opportunity, we'll fight it on your behalf. And then we take a contingency fee.
If I get it correctly, like the first part is just connecting with Seller Central to get all the information. In the beginning, there's probably a big part that needs to be recovered, since you can go back like 18 months in most cases. And after that, you will check month by month or week by week, or how does
We're checking every day. So every day we're running these. So we basically, our system connects to Amazon. So every single day we're trying to identify case types. So every day we pull all this data from Amazon. Our software runs and says, okay, here are all the new case types available for the day. So it's running literally every single day. When we do our initial pull, we're obviously pulling a lot of historical data from your Amazon account. So we're, you know, pulling as far back as cases are going to be relevant. We pull all that information into the system. And then we have new case types. And then every day we're doing the same thing. but, you know, the daily pull of data is going to have a lot less case types than, you know, years worth of Amazon orders that haven't been audited. I guess what I would say is easy to say in this space, but I would say everyone who's selling FBA on Amazon should have something in place. Whether you use us, you try to do this internally, which some do. It's a lot of work, but it's possible. Or you work with, you know, someone who offers a similar product. Like, all of those are good options. I would say not doing something is not a good option, just because like there's free money sitting there on the table and there's really no reason not to do it. Again, like you could make an argument what's the best way to do it, but I would say definitely having a program in place is like a no-brainer for anyone who's selling on Amazon.
Will, can you walk me through some examples you had success with in the past?
Yeah, no question. So we work with two of the largest aggregators in the world. And for one of them, we recovered over the last 12 months, over $1 million. So obviously they're a big brand, but there was a ton of opportunity on a different scale, but just shows kind of the impact it could have. We had a brand that's a pretty big Amazon seller. They had never done reimbursements ever. And we connected our account and we saw, like, you know, well into the six figures, like around $150,000 that was just sitting in their account. And we were able to recover most of it for them. Sometimes the cases aren't totally eligible, but, you know, it's very common for, you know, us to turn on an account and say, holy cow, there's $50,000 sitting in your account because no one's ever audited it. And yeah, and I would say size of companies we work with can be some of the largest aggregators that are hundreds, you know, millions and millions of dollars, to much smaller brands. But then some folks who are selling like, you know, 9 figures on Amazon, who are just, we work directly with them. But yeah, they could see, you know, 7 figures a year in potential recoveries sitting in their account.
And to check out for me if it's relevant to work with you guys, is there some way of estimation about what this thing could be for us?
Yeah, 100%. So what I would recommend, and we can put a QR code in after, if you send me an email at will@revup.technology, we can create the QR code so it just comes right to me. But what we can do is an audit. So essentially what you would do is we'd have limited permissions to your Amazon account to pull all of the data we need to see what case types are available. So if you're a seller on Amazon and want to say, I'm just curious if anything is in my account, pending you're selling FBA, I'm sure there'll be something in there. So if you send me that email, you'll connect your account and then we'll see potential opportunities sitting there for you. And then if you want, we can, you know, go ahead and start recovering it for you. But yeah, it's an easy way to see, is this even relevant to me? And, you know, frankly, if you're selling on FBA, there's certainly things in there. I don't know if it's $5 or, you know, $500,000. It depends on your size, but I'm sure there's something in there if you've been selling FBA.
Well,
awesome, Kevin. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for telling your story and learning a little bit more about the world of recovery, I would say. We will put all the links in the description for reaching out to any of the things. If there are any questions, please feel free to let us know. If you like this type of content, there will be a lot of content coming up. So follow account, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and we will definitely hit you with the next one. Thanks again, Will. Speak soon, and yeah, let's keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.